Oh my, two in one day. Well, better not waste any time. This is real brief, this one. So I've been a fan of the UFC for over 12, 13 years now. Like as a following it as a fan of the mixed martial arts, following many of the guys from back in the days, back in those times from Pride and Pride Fighting Championship is a Japanese organization, by the way. And last night there was a guy from the early 2000s till 2010 when he retired. There's a man called Chuck the Iceman Liddell. Now he was a originally a wrestler who did Kempo karate. I believe it was Kempo karate, or maybe it was Kempo kickboxing. I can't remember exactly what off the top of my head, but Chuck, he had this, the way he fights and the way he looks. He had a unique way. He was unique. You know, Chuck was a good guy to watch fight. He was going to get his ass kicked or he was going to fuck somebody up. And, the guy was the Iceman, he had a lot of composure and he had intense eyes. And with his haircut and the tattoos and, the way he talks, he was a character. But sadly, last night, I seen Chuck Liddell go down like I never. Well, actually, I was going to say I've never seen Chuck Liddell go down like that, but I actually have. The thing about Chuck Liddell and his style, yeah, he can knock people out. He's knocked people out moving backwards, and he is a talented fighter. And he's got a heart of a warrior and a heart of a champion and all that stuff, like Randy Couture said to him. But the guy wears punishment. And the thing about your brain, as you see in the NFL, you see in every contact sport, CTE, brain damage, multiple concussions. Once you get a concussion, you can get a concussion easier and easier, and you can get knocked the fuck out pretty easily because your brain's going, uh oh, this is happening again. I'm going to shut down. And that apparently minimizes your brain damage you suffer from getting knocked the fuck out or having massive shots to the head. But fighters get it, right? Muhammad Ali he wasn't the way he was just because of Parkinson's. He was the way he was as well because he took a lot of punishment in boxing. Boxing's a brutal, brutal sport, and so is mixed martial arts. I can't say which one's more brutal, although the more obvious one would be like MMA is obviously more brutal, but I don't know. Over it's the accumulation of the shots. If you watch Chuck Liddell fight, especially fights that he wins, he tends to get cracked hard. And he usually, like, for instance, any of you who watch professional wrestling, Brock Lesnar, he fought a man called Alistair Overeem. And yes, Brock's excuse was diverticulitis. And while that is fair enough, Alistair Overeem fucked him up. Well, Alistair used to be about 60 pounds less than that. And he fought Chuck Liddell in Japan. And Alistair head kicked Chuck, man. And Chuck went down to one knee and got up and just continued to come forward. And they're like, he has an iron chin. He does, but ever since Rampage Jackson knocked him out, he started losing the ability to wear the shot. And you want to see a guy who goes from being a world champion, one of the toughest people in the world, and a gust of wind will knock him out now. I mean, his chin has turned to dust. And watching yesterday, I even started to sort of buy into the fantasy of it all, of Liddell and Ortiz 3. Well, when they fought in their prime, when they fought 10 years ago for the world championship, and everyone knows this too from back in the day, Tito Ortiz wanted nothing to do with Chuck Liddell. He ducked him. He ducked him for a long time. He fought Randy Couture before he would fight Chuck Liddell. I might have that mixed up, though. That was a long time ago. That might have been Randy defending the title against Tito. It's tough to remember, but the thing is, Tito was scared, and you could see that yesterday, and for good reason, because Chuck fucked him up. He was faster, a better wrestler, a better striker, and he hit way harder than Tito. Well, they fought on two occasions. The first time Tito fought with him, dared to stand, and he did, and Tito got destroyed. In their second fight, it went a little longer, but same thing. It was a better fight, but Chuck absolutely decimated him, man. He decimated him. Over the years, Chuck Liddell, like I said, got knocked out by Rampage Jackson, fought a war with Vanderlei Silva, got flatlined by a guy called Rashad Evans, one of the scariest overhand rights I've ever seen. The guy shut down and face planted. It accumulated. He got knocked the fuck out after that, even easier. Like Mauricio Shogun Rua fought him, and he landed the very first shot that he landed on Chuck. Chuck went down and he got finished. Next loss for Chuck Liddell was when he fought Rich Franklin, a former middleweight, former 185-pound champion. The difference in the power was obvious. Everything Chuck landed on Rich was react. If he didn't react big time, he would physically be moved by Chuck's power. And Chuck Liddell had changed his fighting style. He was throwing kicks. He was fast. He lost his beer gut that he was notorious for. He had like a full fucking 4-pack going, a 6-pack, whatever. But no, Chuck broke Rich Franklin's arm, and as he was coming in, the smallest of right hooks connected with his chin, and he literally was out cold. Last night, Chuck Liddell fought Tito Ortiz after 8 years of being retired. And Chuck Liddell looked like shit. He was slower. He didn't even have speed. At least when he fought Rich Franklin and Rashad Evans, he still had speed. He still had power. He had nothing last night. That was an embarrassment to the sport. It was humiliating. It was uncomfortable to watch. And the way Ortiz conducted himself, yeah, he sorted himself out eventually. I get being emotional, avenging a loss, but dude, how can you be? It was like what I said when I watched it. I was like, how can he be proud of that? After watching Chuck move around, he didn't throw a single shot, and he did eventually throw one. And fucking hell, it was so slow, man. The guy looks like he can. He's got CTE for sure, and he is punch drunk. And the fact that he got a license to fight and he apparently passed all the medicals, it just shows, especially with Oscar De La Hoya involved, it just stinks. Of just stinks. That's all. It's heartbreaking watching Chuck Liddell lose like that. And like I said, it was a familiar feeling. It was familiar. Seeing Chuck getting KO'd, like when he got KO'd by Rich Franklin, I knew it was over. I was like, this guy, up until that point, though, I was like, damn, Chuck Liddell's back. He's taking his training seriously. He's fast and he's throwing kicks. He's not just throwing his right hand, and that's it, basically. Yeah, the reason that fight lasted as long as it did is because Tito Ortiz suddenly realized, who the fuck is this guy I'm in here with? Because it's not Chuck Liddell. So yeah, I'm gonna link the fight in the description, and you can check it out if you want. But boy, it sucks watching this happen to these guys, man. But it is what it is. It's, if anything, it's at least fascinating to see undeniable evidence, further more undeniable evidence that the human brain can only handle so many shots.